Figure it out.
Hello, this is Adam Koralik with Figure It Out Productions. The following video is part of our Quick Shoot series.
Hey guys, it's Adam here, and this video is going to be kind of like a half review and half almost PSA. It's about these consoles and specifically some mods that have gone into them, and I just wanted to share them with you. So the deal is that my friend Raymond, a guy who lives in the UK, he's phenomenal at modifying and repairing game consoles. I've talked about him in previous videos. His email is in the description, as is a link to the website that he works out of. I highly recommend getting a hold of him. And if you don't know why, stay tuned. I think I will convince you, I hope. So here's the deal. These consoles, which are, of course, the Sega Genesis Model 1, aka the Mega Drive Model 1, and Sega CD Model 1, aka the Mega Drive Model 1, Mega Drive Model 2, aka Genesis Model 2, Sega CD Model 2, Mega Drive Model 2, the PAL Super Nintendo, i.e. the European Super Nintendo, which is obviously the same body design as the Japanese Super Famicom, and looks far and away superior, in my opinion, to the cartoony box-like piece of junk design that we got in North America. And of course over here we also have a European Sega Saturn. So these consoles, like I said, have had either repairs or mods or both. So let's start off with, of course, the Sega CD Model 2. Now for example, this one, if you have a Sega CD Model 2 and it doesn't work, it just doesn't power up, there's a very good chance that it's because of a fuse on the board that pops. Sega notoriously used these cheap ones that break very easily. So I sent it to him to repair it. Now he could have just replaced it with another cheap one and been done with it. But what makes this guy awesome is that he doesn't do that. Not only does he not use a cheap one, he uses a high-grade one and then goes in to make it easier to replace. Because I certainly lack any kind of modification skills. I just don't trust myself with soldering. It's not something I'm going to ever learn. It's not something I'm ever going to be good at. But he goes in and replaces it, makes it easier to change out, and on top of that, he goes in and looks for things that aren't broken yet and upgrades them. For example, he told me like the line that he gave me that I thought was really funny was he said, oh, you know, the capacitors, they've been in there for like 20 years, they're working fine, but I think I'm just going to go ahead and replace them with brand new ones so that it works for like another 40 or 50 years. Can't argue with that. He did the same thing with the Model 1 Sega CD. That thing was toast. He went and replaced everything. He made a long, video like showing me everything he did. It was just, it's exceptional. It really is. This is probably now the most reliable Sega CD in North America. It works flawlessly. But not only does he do these repairs, as I mentioned, he goes in and makes them region-free. And basically every single one here has had the same region-free mod done to it. I'll show you this, the Super Nintendo again. Now if you looked at this, just up close, if you had this in your hands, you would never know this wasn't stock. You look at the front of it, there's nothing weird about it. The front there, the sides, the back, the bottom. There's no like big switch, which you expect with a mod, especially with a region-free mod. What he does are switchless mods. And this is considered impressive even amongst modders, so I've been told. I mean, it's certainly impressive to me, but even if other modders are like, damn, that's cool, then you know you're doing something right. Basically, the way that it works is that the mod is internal, and when you turn the console on, the LED on the console will light up, and if you hold down the reset button, it'll switch between colors, and each color it switches between is a different region. So it's got American, Japanese, and European support. And on top of that, he's also added the ability to switch between 60 Hz and 50 Hz, and you can do every combination therein. So that means I'm in North America, I'm going to play things in 60 Hz because 50 Hz is not supported on any of our TVs. But if I want to play a European game, I have to set it to 60 Hz and European mode, and I'm good to go. That, I think, is really damn impressive, the fact that you can do any combination therein. And on top of that, to make the experience even more authentic, he showed this to me once. He put in these custom like EEPROM chips that he could write to, and he put in the various BIOSes from all the different regions in the cases of the Sega CD and the Sega Saturn. So when you switch it into that region and then turn it on, it will load up the BIOS from that region, which is really, really cool to me. So I thought that that was just really awesome, and I wanted to share that with you guys. He does go all out on cartridges as well. In the case of, you can see it here maybe, he cuts the plastic a little bit so that it can fit every type of cartridge, because not every Mega Drive / Genesis game is the same shape. But really, you wouldn't really notice just looking at it that it has been cut and is able to do that. Now that doesn't work with the Super Nintendo, obviously, because the North American style of our games is the same exact type of PCB board as the Japanese stuff, same region coding essentially. The reason it doesn't work is it doesn't fit. So in the case of the Super Nintendo, you'll be able to play the Super Famicom games, which unfortunately I don't own any of, and you can play the European Super Nintendo games. But if you have an adapter like this, you can stick that in there and then put in the American game, you're all set, you're up and running. So yeah, I have all of the stuff I've ever gotten from him has been highly reliable. I've never had any of it break or have any damage. The only issue I've ever had, which was 100% my fault, was when it came to this Genesis here. I asked him to put on the back a composite and an S-video mod, which I was young, I was naive, I didn't know any better. It was just a couple years ago, but still, it's my fault. I said, put those on there, and he said, he tried to talk me out of it. He was like, dude, use RGB SCART, what are you doing? And I was like, no, man, S-video, composite, yay! I want to hit that younger version of me for ever saying that. Now, the mod itself works phenomenally. It does exactly what it's supposed to do. It is great. He even goes out of his way to, on the Sega Genesis, it only outputs mono in the back, but it outputs stereo in the front. And so he actually wires it up so that it will output stereo back there. So again, he goes out of his way to make it as good as it can be. But it's totally pointless if you use RGB SCART. But he did do the mod very, very successfully. So there you go. Now again, I really just wanted to show you some of this work because people have asked me about it in the past and I never did a dedicated video about it. So, and I felt it really deserved it because he really just kicked some serious ass with these mods. So if you're interested, again, his email's in the description, as is the website that he works through. So yeah, go ahead and contact him. I will warn you, of course, that if you're in the UK, this is probably not going to be a big deal, but if you're in the US like I am, any other, Canada or other parts of Europe even, maybe Australia certainly, shipping is a pain in the ass. It's just, it gets incredibly expensive. If you are in the UK, it probably won't be an issue. Maybe other parts of Europe, I'm not totally sure, but I just wanted to warn you. The dude will give you a good deal. It's just UPS that's going to kick your ass. So there you go. That's it. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all later.